Welcome to the Comeback Blueprint podcast, hosted by Michael Sawan. This is the show about rebuilding after setbacks, burnouts, and life-changing moments. Real stories, real struggles, real comebacks. If you're in a season of change, you're in the right place. Welcome to another episode of the Comeback Blueprint podcast. Today's guest, Andrea Lee Cox, also known as the Detox Intuitive, has built a life around helping people reconnect to their bodies, detox physically and emotionally, and trust their intuition again, from raw nutrition to deep spiritual work. To guiding people through their own healing journeys, her approach challenges the way most of us think about health, trauma, and recovery. Andrea Lee, welcome to the Comeback Blueprint podcast.
I'm so grateful to be here. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm so glad we finally aligned to get this done.
Oh, we did. We had kids in soccer practice.
Yeah, and then you weren't
Had
feeling right,
got
and yeah.
get ready one day, feeling my vibe, and yeah.
But today it was like all systems go, so I'm feeling energetic. I'm really
I'm feeling good too.
excellent because I'm going to need to pick your brain today. That's what we're going to do. But I do have some questions just so people can get to know you a bit better. Because down in Australia, we want to know more about Andrea Lee, of course. So you grew up. Now you're in Arizona at the moment, which is fascinating because I just learned that Arizona is one of the few places that don't subscribe to daylight savings. We obviously learned that when we were trying to put this together. But you grew up in rural Ohio. I think it's the Midwest. Is that right? What did that environment give you, and what did it lack?
Oh, it didn't lack anything.
Okay, good.
I grew up with really good, strong family roots. My grandmother, Lagolda, who I talk about a lot of times on social media, she grew her own food. She made everything from scratch. She cooked with lard. I'm vegan, but she, of course, was not. So it was really, it was a time where I was able to really learn like land and learn how to food and learn to really, cook and things like that. My father passed away in an accident when I was 10. And so it was my mom and us
Yeah,
girls. I was the youngest of all girls and just really learned how to do life by such wonderful family roots. I have a great family.
beautiful. My condolences, of course, to your father. At such a young age, you had to grow up quite quickly. Before all this, look, you've got a strong family connection there, of course. Before you are who you are now, you were in fitness. You were in the fitness and modeling world, and people can definitely explore you online and discover that about you. It's very appearance driven, of course. Um, was that a period? What was that path about?
It's hard to achieve the level of, I mean, I'm at half a century young now, so I'm way past my 30s, all of that, 40,
God bless. God
Um,
bless.
but yeah, no, I think I was still in Ohio then. It was before I moved to California. I moved to California in my 30s and spent 10 years there. I think when you achieve a level of fitness I did, and magazines are willing to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars to be the small woman in the corner down below
Really?
to buy the magazine. I was able to, save close to $3 million just with my image. And I say a lot of women get themselves in shape, and I'm one of the only ones that ever got paid for it. And so I really treated it like a business. It's
Yeah.
really hard to achieve the level of, I think I was at like 12% body fat and 8 pack of abs and
Wow.
all of that. It's hard to achieve that level of fitness that young.
No,
No.
absolutely. No,
And
that's fine.
it led to a lot of great things in my
Yeah,
life.
no, that's absolutely. And we will unpack those as we go. And I can imagine it was an exciting learning journey to say that you got down to even, I think it was 12 or something percent. I could imagine just, yeah, like the mental application required for that.
That's what led me to veganism. And as you see, I have a green juice here. that is not a healthy way to live. Eating 6 meals a day, eating protein at every meal or even every day. I've been vegan for 30 years now. So I cannot eat any animal protein, no eggs, no fish, no chicken. This is all my hair that you see
Beautiful.
here.
Yeah.
This and so there's really a misconception, and that's what I learned in that industry. There's a misconception that in order to be healthy, you have to, or in order to maintain muscle or what have you, in order to have a six pack of abs or whatever, you have to eat dead, decomposing animals. And that's just not the case. In fact, I think the true way to health is finding a balance between high plant-based eating and maybe occasionally, very rarely eating, um, animals. I don't eat any
Mm.
personally. I feel it's a more youthful way to live. Like many of your viewers, I am I'm probably old enough to be their mother, if not their grandmother for some of them. And I think it's a way of kind of preserving oneself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. You mentioned a few tidbits there. One of them was I think you said dead decaying animals, eating dead decaying. That's how you describe eating meat. I've never heard it described that way, so I'm gonna have to think twice now about what I put in my mouth. It's when you actually sort of break it down. But it's interesting
Think
because
about it. People love their dogs, right? We love
yes,
our
sure,
dogs, love cats, dogs, whatever. But then we'll put a cow or a pig on our
on your
plate.
plate. Yeah,
And it really doesn't make much sense when you think of a pig that's smarter than a 3-year-old toddler, right? And they've done studies, 3, 4-year-old toddler, a pig has the brain capacity that's beyond
yeah.
that. And yet we're eating them. They're full of parasites, which lead to cancer. They've done the studies, parasites equal cancer. So, there really wasn't any reason for me. What I discovered being around all these bodybuilders and these photographers that were, shooting us on the beach and everything is these people were really unhealthy. They were slimming down animal protein 3, 6 meals a day. And I was over there with my green juice. I was discovering veganism at the time. And I was like, yeah, this isn't the kind of lifestyle I want.
What sort of triggered that journey to start exploring veganism?
Growing up in Ohio and seeing animals slaughtered. There's a lot of farming that goes on in Ohio.
Yeah,
That's one. I have a very compassionate, loving heart, and I love animals. And animals give you unconditional love. And I think first time you're around a cow or a pig, you'll see, wow, I do not want to eat these. And then as a model, I transitioned from fitness model to glamour model and I did some magazines in Australia, a black and white edition. We won't say what those are. These are all under a
okay,
different, they're under a different name, so you
yeah.
can never kind of find them.
As in a
But
different alias to Andrea? Is that what
yeah,
you're
oh
referring to?
yeah,
Yeah,
of
okay,
course.
yeah.
Um, and I did, Playboys, Voluptuous Vixens. I did so many different magazines, and I developed an eating disorder because for the fitness magazines, they wanted you tan with six pack abs. And for the glamour magazines, they wanted you pale and plump. They wanted you 30
Right.
pounds heavier. So I was constantly transitioning between these two body types, having to fit the mold. And I was making so much money that it was like, how am I going to do this? Thank God I was in a relationship at the time. Thank God I was Thank God I was in a relationship at the time with someone that I had built a home with. We were in a relationship for about 12 years. I had met him when I was 17. That he was able to kind of see that I was developing this eating disorder and get me the help that I needed at the time. But that's what led to wanting to help others and wanting to help
Mm.
women and wanting to heal others.
Things. How did you respond to it when they called you out on it? Because I can imagine sometimes it can be a little confronting when you're on such a high.
When he called me out, he didn't
Yeah.
call me
Well, just
out.
said, "Hey, I've noticed that, something's going on here,"
Stepped in as a form of
Yeah,
support.
yeah.
He said gently, "I don't want to see you hurting yourself." And we started going to like counseling and we found a support group. And then I realized, really that I wanted to transition onto veganism because I kept like being drawn to like he would grill out a lot and he'd make like chicken kebabs and I kept being drawn to like these huge avocado salads and these big plates of fruit and making ice cream out of bananas and all this stuff. And the reason we broke up is because he actually told me my veganism was a phase. And I'll never forget,
Right.
your veganism, I think this is a phase and you're going to snap out of it. And I thought,
Yeah.
okay, no, actually, I'm going to leave you. And that's it. 12 years. And it was more than that. I hit my Saturn return at like 28. I hit my Saturn return and it was time for that relationship to be over.
Yeah. For those who don't know what that is, like myself, what's a Saturn return? Sorry?
Saturn return happens usually if you're blessed enough to live a long time. It happens twice in your lifetime and
Yeah.
it's a time of great change. Basically everything in your life changes unless you are like codependent on someone and then you'll stay in that awfulness and
Right.
for another 10-year cycle or whatever, and it just holds you back. But yeah, I knew at that time that he was not the right, partner for me. He was like 8 years older and he's a scientist. He was very smart. I've always been attracted to intelligence, never appearance or anything. And he was very, I like to say he shielded me because I mean, I'm just going to be honest, I'm half a century young now, but at that time I was so good looking that it was like, he kind of preserved me from everyone else, he kind
Right.
of was my person for 12 years. So, it was a good thing to have him there in my life, and he taught me a lot, so
Absolutely. And you said there was more to it than just one conversation about, your to that. But you said it was roughly 12 years that relationship was?
yeah, it was 12
Yeah.
years. Mhm.
So what was the next chapter like then? Because this is brand new territory for you.
Yeah, moved home with my mom for a year, God bless her heart, that
Yeah.
was so tough on her because I was going through that Saturn return, I was dealing with an eating disorder, I still hadn't healed myself yet, and I had bulimia,
Yeah.
and those of you who can't tell because I'm sitting down, I'm closer to 6 feet than I am. I'm like 5'10" and a half.
Yeah.
So at the time I got down to 97 pounds at 5'11", 5'10" and a half. That was scary. And I remember being at my mom's, it was Valentine's Day. I'll never forget this. And I was vomiting up. I think I'd had like a
Oh,
entire jar of Jiffy peanut butter on top of ice cream. Dairy always made it come up easier. And, I just remember saying, this will be the last time I ever make myself vomit again, ever. And I never did after that. I knew that I had that eating disorder right there in that moment because one day I would help other people that had eating disorders. And over the years, I've had so many clients that have come to me for help with eating disorders. It's not my main thing that I work in now. I work more with helping people heal through the body to leave codependent relationships and karmic ties and things like that. But I help them through the bodily vessel and cellular detoxification, and by teaching them how to tap into their Akashic records and cleanse their body through living foods. But at the time, I knew that that eating disorder was like the precipice of what was to come. And it was.
yeah. It's when they come to you and they're looking for something, they don't often know what they're looking for. It seems like from what I've seen from your work, you sort of guide them to where they need to go. So, what kind of conversations do you find yourself commonly having?
Yeah. So a lot of times people can't really tap into their intuition because they're clogged, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This time and time again, a woman will be married to a man that's hyper focused on his ex and he's kind of like going in the
Yeah.
basement stairs and shutting her out or focusing on everything but her. And she's like, making the meals, making sure the floors are clean. And, it takes her years to even realize that, look, this man has you as a basic, like as a mate
And
and
she's
as someone.
lost her identity in the
She's
process.
lost her identity, and then she becomes angry at the ex that he's focused on, and she's like hyper fixated on the wrong person and blaming that person for being prettier or more vibrant or free or whatever. And so I really am brutally honest with my clients.
Yeah.
Brutally honest. Like, first thing you need to do is quit eating like shit. period. You need to, get rid of the pasteurized milk. You need to quit getting the jab in your arm. I mean, that's a big one that's really affected our health. And I am against all of that. You need to, I am. I know it's a big thing over there to not say that, but, I've never been vaccinated in my life and I don't believe in it. People wonder why they're not feeling well and they're listening to their government tell them what to do with their health. They're drinking pasteurized dairy. They're eating dead decomposing animals. And it's offensive to a lot of people when I say this stuff. And there is a difference when if you aren't vegan, because to each his own, there's a difference when you're eating like when I grew up, like everything was grass fed, everything was made from scratch. There was meat at every meal, but it was slaughtered by a local farmer, not shot with hormones and
Yeah.
all of this we deal with now. Um, and I think that people need to wake up. They need to focus first on cleansing their bodies and then seeing the truth about what they created in their life when we're smoking the weed and we're doing the jab and we're eating like shit and what did you create during that time? Because usually all of that is false and needs to go. Or if you've already, locked yourself in with having kids with someone or something, you need to really work on how can we make this work even though we're not really feeling each other like
Yeah.
we were 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And so there needs to be some honest come to Jesus moments in people's lives. And I help people see that. Most of my clients and I have equal 50-50 men and women, which is, I'm really blessed. And that came about actually from someone trying to ruin my name on the internet and make women discredit me, but it actually ended up working in my favor. But most of the time, I make people see what they do not want to see in their life
Mm.
and change it. And that's very hard. I'm working with a girl right now, um, out of I'm not going to say where she's out of, but in
Sure.
a different country. That she's with a man that gave her a venereal disease, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm.
Like, why are you in this? Like, hello, wake up. Are you okay? And I just worked with a gentleman for a period of months, John, one of my favorite clients, who
Yeah.
ended up getting a divorce. He has two kids. He ended up getting a divorce, and he's moving forward with his life in different ways. He's gotten an amazing health. He's on the peptides. He's really, really doing well. And people transform with me. But along my path, I did start an Oracle channel where after I wrote my cookbooks and things like that, I created an Oracle deck and started a spiritual business. That business offended some people from my past, and that opened up a whole nother progression of, being attacked online, learning how to deal with that. So I get a lot of clients that have been targeted online, targeted by the government, targeted by people online, and that kind of has opened up a whole new door of clientele to me.
Regarding the people from your past that were offended, is that because they had a version of you that they like to accept, and when they realized there was more to it, they're like, "Oh, this doesn't align with me"? Is it that they didn't want to be like, "Oh, I fell for this"? Like, why were they offended?
I don't think, I'm not them, so I don't want to put words in
Sure,
their mouth.
yeah, I can appreciate that.
But I think it was just one person and his partner. I think I had a very bitter ex that was very jealous, that thought I was better than him, which I am. And I mean, after it's all said and done, seeing what's come out now, I very much
Yeah,
so am.
yeah,
And I think that he thought I was full of myself, but really I have a lot of light. It's in my astrology chart. It's in my human design chart. Yesterday, I got interviewed on a podcast about the cards of life by a beautiful couple. It's in my cards of life cards, the 8 of diamonds and the 4 of diamonds. That's the emperor and the sun. Literally, that's someone
yeah.
who's meant to leave. I'm a manifesting generator by the 25, which is the unconditional love. I'm a fire dragon in Chinese. I'm a 933. Those are my two life paths. 33 is the master healer and teacher. So it offended him that I grew beyond him because we were only together for a minute. So, you know, when someone is not even a chapter in your book, you know, when they're like not even a paragraph, they're like a sentence and they get pissed and want to make themselves a
Paragraph or a chapter.
yeah, they wanna, like, keep reinserting themselves. So what he
Yeah.
did is over the years, he created multiple fake accounts and was
Mm.
harassing me online. And then
Wow.
his wife joined in, and I thought, "Are you kidding me?" Like, this is so I knew the whole time, but it really took me moving to Arizona on my Saturn line, which those of you who are into astrology actually live on my Saturn MC line, and that'll help you close out some it's major for recognition, but it'll also help you close out karmic cycles. It took me moving here to finally, okay, I got to get a cease and desist in place. I have to do
Yeah.
this. Like they have to stop. This is ridiculous because I didn't deserve that.
No.
And they know that I didn't deserve that. And then they tried to kind of triangulate people around me and stuff. And that's all I want to say because I don't want to give them too much
Sure.
airtime.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
when you have a very bright light to shine, people will try to interfere with that light. And, you know, his wife will probably use that line now. She uses everything I say. It is a very dark, monitoring spirit, like an entity attachment that that type of person has to deal with 24/7. And so I actually learned through working with a couple shamans in Mexico, deep into Mexico, how to combat that energy and send it back. Like if chaos was sent my way, it immediately flips their way and they have to see themselves. It doesn't harm anyone. It's literally a shamanic teaching of knowing how to protect and defend your energy. And then I had to step up and like legally and I had to really
Yeah.
like look, this cycle ended the day like in 2012.
Yeah.
What are you still doing looking at me online, weirdo?
It
Like,
was a it was a flash in the pan, dude. Move on. Yeah.
yeah. And why is your wife trying to sue me when I've never met her? Like, this is weird, you know? And I think it finally, I'm hoping it's over, but they still are on my stuff in the comments every once in a while behind fake accounts. But here's the thing. When your whole chart is water, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, and you are an intuitive like me, I feel that shit before it shows up. I am just like, really? Like, really, your account was made yesterday and like you're using part of your name in your account name. Like, please get a
Yeah.
life. You know,
The
I
bot
mean,
life. Yeah.
yeah. And so that really made me stronger. It made me step into my power more because I'm a very sensitive, loving, good hearted woman. And I think his goal was to make me like hard or like paint me as some type of like bitter woman. It's like, bro, like, really? Like, I'm sitting in $1 million home on top of a mountain with my dogs. Like, are you driving a Mercedes? Are you really still trying to paint this? And so I think when you grow beyond people, they get offended and they get upset and they don't know how to handle it, right? They don't know how to handle wow, like she doesn't look back and she like, why am I attacking her from a fake account? It's weird. It's weird.
It's it's fun in Australia. I don't know if we use the same phrase for it in. Oh, you use the same phrase for it in America. In Australia, we have this tendency, and at one point, it was very generalized. It was called tall poppy syndrome. And the idea was that if you just saw someone around you who was doing better and you didn't like them, you would go and character assassinate and you'd gaslight them if you had to, just everything because while everyone else would support them, and rather you yourself doing the work to be as good as them, you would just found it easier to bring them down. So we call that tall poppy syndrome. So
Oh,
um
tall poppy syndrome. Well, I'm
yeah.
definitely tall poppy then. I love
Yeah,
that.
I just it sounds like that's what's happening over there. It sounds like it's a case of tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah,
So,
it
yeah.
was really hard to deal with too, especially when you've got other things going on, when you've got like
Yeah,
elderly
you've got
dogs
your whole life going, yeah.
that are yeah, you have kids and everything, so you know how that is, right? And it's like when you have other things in your life that you need to tend to, the whole thing was to distract me from my path so they could kind of steal what I created as their own and
Yeah.
then gaslight me with other people. It was and triangulate. It was the most I would say it was the most plotting, vindictive thing I've ever been through, but it was also the most, wow, I really feel sorry for them. Oh my God,
Yeah,
I hope they get help type of thing. Yeah.
it is. It's a problem at the end with themselves, not with you. And
Yeah,
it's just they're
exactly.
just trying to deflect it. But you've done much travel in your life? Is that
No,
like
not
no?
really. I mean,
Okay,
I was with someone who had a home in Mexico, and we lived bi-coastally. So we lived in
nice.
Mexico. We spent some time in San Francisco and in San Diego. I grew up in Ohio. I lived 11 years in San Diego, 2 years in Las Vegas, and then I've been here almost 4 years. And I am such a homebody. I creating a home. I love to garden. I love to cook. I love being at home.
Yeah.
So I don't travel a
I
lot.
can tell because you told me that you're on the top of a mountain. I can hear the birds chirping in the background. Surely that's not fake. Why don't it?
I'm really
What?
happy to live here.
It's
It's
so.
a
It
really,
just sounds so inspiring. It sounds so inspiring. Like when you wake up every day, do you have um like a? I would say I was going to say ritual, but it's more like do you take a moment to reflect and go, this is where I need to be. This is how I'm to be inspired. I've, like, what's your thinking on the daily? Because
first of
some
all,
of us
this
are
is
living.
frozen, so I just want to let you know when you see me like tilting my head back, it froze my. I'm trying to get it to
I know
thaw
that you
out.
should go ahead and drink it. Yeah.
I stuck it in the sun to thaw out and it still didn't thaw. I am very grateful. Like every day, I literally jump out of bed. I'm so grateful to have my mother, um, who lives with my sister about 3 hours away, and her husband. My nephew is a pre-med student at the college. I'm so proud of him.
Oh, beautiful.
And I'm so grateful to I have amazing neighbors that are very kind, like the kind of neighbors that'll like look at your car if your car isn't working. I have the most beautiful yard in view, and I have clients that pay me very well for my knowledge. And I just, every day is a gift. I mean, literally, I am that weird person that is like, okay, I am half a century young. You'll never hear me say old. And I feel like I get
That's not
to
weird to say. You're not weird. You're not a weird
and I
person.
feel like I'm so lucky to have like this body that works and that like I can get up and run 6 miles and like I have all kinds of like biohacking equipment here. I have a hyperbaric, I have a sauna, I have a Rife machine, a resonant light Rife machine I got from Canada that I needed a security clearance from. No TVs in the house, but
No,
lots of different. Yeah, lots of different healing things. And I just really get up and you ask about routine. I get up and I hydrate. I'm really into Juice Plus. So for your American followers, because I think you're going to get I have a feeling you're going to get a lot of Americans that are going to start watching you. I do.
I'll be thanking God and Jesus for you tonight if that
Oh, it's
happens.
gonna
So,
happen. It's gonna happen. So I start out by hydrating with Juice Plus. I really love that company. And then I move into sometimes I'll make a tea, sometimes I'll make a latte. And I like to
any
juice.
particular tea? Any particular tea?
Oh, I love Gynostema. That's my go-to
Okay.
tea. I love guayasa. These are weird. Gynostema is a form of ginseng. It's
Ginseng, yes, I'm familiar with that.
and it adapts. So I'm an herbalist. So Gynostema, it adapts to what you need. So if you're tired, it gives you energy. And if you need to sleep, it'll make you sleep. And then Guayasa has a little bit of caffeine. So if I want a quick fix, I'll do that. And sometimes my friend Jan bought me a pink coffee maker when the one my sister Cassandra got me broke. And so sometimes I'll just put an organic coffee pot in and mix it with coconut milk and some coconut palm sugar and make a coffee if I have like an interview with a handsome man like yourself. And I just love my life. I like if I could stay home all the if I could stay home all the time and just like film videos and work with
Yeah.
clients.
And just
I
do
love
podcasts with Ming daily. That'd be great. All
I
right.
do podcast. Let's co-host. Let's do it. Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Let's do it.
Um, how long have you been there? Because I want to ask, what was COVID like with the lockdowns? Did you enjoy this kind of? Were
Well,
you
I
here at
was
the
in
time?
California then. I was
Okay.
in COVID was a blessing for me, and I'll
Tell me
tell you
about
why.
it. Yep.
I was running retreats. So COVID, I was asked to leave the home I lived in for 11 years. So I lived in this beautiful home close to the ocean for about 11 years in Carlsbad, California, La Costa. And when COVID hit, wanted to like redo the house and get like they knew that they could go from getting, so if you can imagine paying 3,200 a month in rent in Southern California for 11 years, never paying late, being on time. And then, the landlord's son, who was a perverted attorney, showed up and said, as he was looking at my legs, said, I think we're going to try to get 7,000 a month for the house. And I thought, okay, you're going to get that from me. Um, and
So he
so,
just wanted to double it overnight, basically.
yeah, and they're
Yeah.
not getting that now. They're not. And so basically I moved to Las Vegas. That was a very expensive move, cost me about 20,000. And I ended up with, I'm gonna be honest, I ended up with a crazy, and I do mean crazy. I ended up with a crazy landlord that lived one street over. They were a very odd pair and they couldn't afford to live in their own home. So they were renting it, this home that they were renting to me, and they would show up every day, like with problems with each other. And like I was like the counselor and I was paying to live there. And I was like, I have got to get out of here. So
Yeah.
when that lease was up, I prayed on my hands and knees. I said, God, please, for the love of God, let me find a peaceful place with normal neighbors, like I just need peace. And so I remember looking for an acre of land and I wanted an adobe style and I found it. And this has been a place of radical lessons, transformation, healing. I did not want to move here because of the astrology. It's on my Saturn MC line, which is,
Yeah.
it presents a lot of burdens, but I did find the house was built in the year of the dragon, and I'm a dragon, and the city was the year of the dragon. So that's why I chose it.
Beautiful. And so has there been any further work done to the house, or was it as it is you've walked in and it's just worked for
But
you?
yeah, it's just it's so I own a farm with my sisters that was left to us in an inheritance.
Beautiful.
So it's just a rental, this is, and so but everybody's very kind, and that's what I wanted, and now that I'm ready to buy, something, I'm really looking to find that perfect place. Like, I keep looking, like, I'm drawn to Texas, I'm drawn to, areas that are on really good grid lines for me because I feel like my lessons have your Saturn MC line is good for recognition and to really build and learn systems. And boy, have I built and learned systems here.
It's
Big time.
amazing.
To protect
Yeah,
myself.
absolutely.
I built systems.
I've been to America a few times in my life. I actually lived there for a small period.
Oh,
On a I was on a temporary visa back in 2011, I believe. In I lived in Philadelphia, so upper east sort of side there. But I've traveled to America a couple of times, and I've done, Florida, I've done California, the lovely touristy type ones that you do coming from Australia. One thing I always seem to miss is the deep south, and I mean Texas and Arizona. I feel like that's heartland America. And again, this is just what I've come to understand. It's that they haven't been too affected by the outside world in a good way. They hold to their traditions. You've got a lot of rural activities out there. Um, Now you've added this whole idea that it probably is more in line with your satellite. Like, would you recommend it for a family moving there? Because we've often
uh,
thought about it.
to be honest with you, I think the people in Arizona are the nicest people I've ever met. And that's coming from,
Beautiful.
my sister and her husband and my nephew and my mom live 3 hours away in Phoenix, and they are the nicest people. Every person I have met living in Arizona, everybody told me, don't move on your Saturn line. It'll be burdens. My life has transformed here. I had 12 magazines last year that I came out in, and these were big. These were like New York Weekly, USA News, Wellness Magazine, Wealth Magazine out of I think it was Germany, an Italian vegan magazine. The recognition I've received on my Saturn line, everybody told me not to move on, has been huge. And so I feel like astrocartography is going to play a big role in my next move, but I'm not going to listen to what everyone says because I needed this discipline. I needed to move here. I'm such a softie and such a free spirit that I needed structure like this. But yes, I think people here are extremely kind.
Yeah, beautiful. It's interesting you said because you're a free spirit, you need to balance that with structure. So here's the place to be. I'm learning a lot about you and your area. It's very interesting. On the matter of just on a few things we've touched, on the matter of intuition, astrology, how would you explain what you do in this work? And if I could ask a very grounded way, I'd explain it to someone so they can actually take away and go, I actually understand what she does.
So I am an intuitive healer and holistic wellness mentor. What I do is I use living foods, herbalism, astrology, and the Akashic records to help people heal. It's like a peeling of an onion. And by the time I'm done with people, they are transformed in body, in mind, and in spirit. I guarantee you, if they've got health ailments, they'll be gone. And if they have any type of codependency in their life, that's gone.
Okay, that's probably the best way that could have been summed up. I'm glad you mentioned the Akashic records. I wanted to get a moment of education from you, if that's okay. On what, if I could get your take on it and what you do there.
Akashic records are written before we ever arrive on Earth, and they are like a blueprint to your past lives and what you are supposed to accomplish in this life. But sometimes people come in, and I want to say that Pisces is the only sign that has access to the Akashic records, because if you look, Jesus was a Pisces. I'm not saying that because like I've studied this intensively, I've taken courses on this. And
Is that
so
April? Is that the month of April?
no, it's the month of March
March. Yep.
up
Okay.
to March 19th. So
Yeah.
the tail end of February into March.
Yeah.
So you got Aquarius, then Pisces, then Aries. So no one can tap into your Akashic records unless they're Pisces, but you can actually rewrite your Akashic records. For example, I was in a relationship a few years ago and for quite a few years, and about 4 years, I would say. And as we were breaking up, I needed to be set free from that. So I remember going in front of the ocean and tapping into my Akashic records and saying, I need this I need my heart to heal, please. Whatever you need to do, let me release this, please, because this needs to be over. And what I did, well, I can't explain to you what I did because that would be sharing my secrets, but I tapped
Sure.
into my Akashic records and I freed myself, and I moved a week later to a different state. And I needed to do that for myself. And so I have the power to cut anything out of my life. I have the power to cut anything out of my life, and to stop anyone who is going down a destructive path to take a different route.
Right. So it's a bit of a two-prong effect. You sort of help yourself and the other person at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's double win. I just learnt a lot right now. Okay, so Jesus was born in March. I had it for April for some reason. I was trying to get the alignment. That's yeah, I'm learning a lot. Yeah, and I do love the fact that you can actually because one of the misconceptions I've always had, and this is why I'm glad I have you on to sort of break those misconceptions, is that someone that studies obviously someone that practices your line of work would not be also, following Jesus Christ. But you seem to be able to do both, and it's not it's a fair thing. It complements one another. That's what I'm taking from this.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think because someone wants to tap into their Akashic records, or because someone created an oracle deck based on health, that they don't believe in Jesus.
yeah. No,
I
I'm
think
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I think that when people I grew up Christian and
Yeah.
my mom was Lutheran, and I grew up with a grandma that sang Bible verses over me and my sisters. And I think that kind of upbringing never goes away or disappears. And I do believe in Jesus. I do believe Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Um, but I also know that along our path, and just like the Bible says, people can get entity attachments, Leviathan, you know,
Yes.
sloth spirit, spirit of laziness, Jezebel spirit, kind of the horror spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, they can get these entity attachments through sleeping with other people, through being around other people, through allowing other people to influence them, and they're actually very real. And so I have a new blog up on andreacox.com called The Akashic Records from a Christian Perspective, and I encourage you to check that out.
I will.
I think you'll like
I'm
it.
putting in the link as well. Don't worry.
Oh,
I
that's
will definitely.
great.
Well,
That's
I
great.
think most of everything I can will definitely be in the description box. There is just so much to unpack with you. I feel like even when we get to the hour here, or whatever we're doing, I'm not even going to touch the surface, because you're such a wonderful, complex human, and there's so much to learn from you. So I'm so sad if I don't get through everything now, but I'll do my absolute best.
I love
Um,
this. This was so much fun.
well, I just wanted to just if I could have a little bit more time with you. I know that it's probably bedtime soon. I'm not sure of where we're going, but we'll see how we go because this has been absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful for it. Um, with everything that you teach, and again, I don't want to give away too much of your practice because I understand it's all you, right? But um, just a thought: how would you stop people from overcomplicating the healing process? Because I'm sure a lot of people come in hardwired and all that, and we're all stressed, we're all strung. How do you?
Honestly, I think people need to do one thing in order to heal. And I think this is what I learned through those people who attacked me, who once they were called out on, still denied it, tried to triangulate me with people. People will never heal if they don't admit that they have an issue.
Yeah,
So I think the first point of healing is recognizing, okay, I got something going on. Why am I doing this? Why am I acting this? You know, I like to tell people, first you're going to hate me and then you're going to love me, because I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear, and it's going to change you, and it's going to change the course of your life. So if people don't want to admit who they really are and what they're doing, there is no hope for them, and they will
yeah,
never heal, and they will never prosper like they're supposed to prosper in life. There's a reason opportunities and money flow to me and fall on my lap. When I do something wrong, I'll give you a perfect example of something I did wrong. This is a while back. I was going through a very tough time. I was in a lawsuit. I was dealing with a dog that was not well, had to have a lot of things going, had a surgery, blah, blah, blah. And I treated someone I loved and cared about, an employee, poorly.
yeah,
I had to learn that when I'm going through the worst, I had to learn that when when I'm doing bad and at my worst, it's how I treat others. And so
yeah.
that was a lesson. So she actually taught me that lesson by doing nothing at all, by the way. It was just a lesson to treat people how you want to be treated no matter what you're going through. So
Yeah. You know what I really respect just now? Your phone interrupted you a few times, that you were able to just keep to what you had to say. That means you're so focused. I absolutely love that. Because if a phone went off in my house, I'd be like, "What were we talking about?" Yeah, it is. It's obviously the juice. It's doing well.
it's the juice.
Yeah,
It's the
absolutely.
juice. I'm ready to eat. Right when this is done, I'm going to eat something.
Nice, nice. I'm conscious of time, so I do hope to have you again. Absolutely.
This is
And
thank you.
I want to let you know that I'll put everything I can in the bio so that people can find you. But a few quick questions. One of them is the signature question for this podcast. I always ask, what does a comeback mean to you?
What does a comeback mean to you? What does a comeback mean to me? Uh, Rising above people who tried to destroy you, like I did, like I've had to do countless amount of times with the same two people. Rising above, being, I like to say, we both talk shit about each other, but I'm the only one that got paid for it. I turned it into a program. I turn it into books. I turn it into teachings, and that can't be taken away.
Yeah.
So I would say definitely rising above people who try to slow you down because they are jealous and envious of your life.
Yeah.
It's literally like, wow, if this can happen to me and I'm a pretty strong personality, it can literally happen to you and anyone. And honestly, I feel really sad for anyone who has a child that goes through this,
Yeah.
because what I learned speaking to people about, like, I would share about this online. A lot of people reached out to me, and there was a one woman that reached out to me. I will never forget this. She wrote me a message on Facebook longer than I am tall about her son that actually took his life because he went through a similar online bullying situation.
Yeah.
And it had me literally on my hands and knees. And she was like, I just want to let you know that what you share here really touched me.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, like, wow, even with everything I went through just to get this message, it was worth standing up for myself. And also, one more thing, even if you lose, you win. And I got to the point where, for example, I was just in an appeal and I didn't even open the envelope. I didn't even bother like looking at, like, I was just like, whatever happens, happens. I got better things to do. I got podcast interviews. I got things to do. But like, when you get to that point where people become so insignificant that are trying to cause you problems in your life that you just ignore it, you have won. You have won. I feel like I am a winner in life. And when people know that they've done you dirty and they've tried to triangulate you against people and they've tried to cause chaos in your life, they know who they are and they know you've won. And I just feel vindicated all the way around with what I went
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And it's such a beautiful thing if you can rise above, and like we're all at some point in our life subject to someone else's criticism, even if it's not valid, and just that I know it goes back to just being kids. That saying sticks and stones can break my bones. I can absolutely appreciate that there's some truth to that as you get older, and you're like, if you can get to a point where people are praying for your misfortune, sad to say, and you can just be like, I'm not phased. I'm in my lane and I'm headed where I'm headed and God's with me. You've made it, you've risen above. And so,
I feel good about it. And I'm really grateful for my family too. My mom had to listen to this shit for a long time. And my dogs had to be around me when I was because people like that are in a low vibrational state and they try to pull you down to theirs. And so my sisters and my friends, oh my God, my friend Elizabeth, God bless you, Elizabeth Resnick. Um, I feel, and my friend Art O'Connor, and my friend John in Washington. Um, God, I love him. I feel like those people that listened to me while I was being literally dragged through it deserve awards. Like, I was just like down here. And without them, I would have maybe stayed down there in that cesspool with those, you know,
yeah,
cockroaches trying to cause me problems. But I was able to rise above. And
rise
that's what
above. And well, I'm glad you mentioned them. They'll definitely be listening in, and I will. I want to ask one more question, and I do hope we get to meet again. I think there's so much more to do, but um, where is the best place that you would love people to connect with you? I'm gonna have a lot of links in the bio, of course, in the description. But where would you want them to reach out to you and go, "Hey, Andrea, just heard it. Tell me."
So I would love, my YouTube channels have been slow growing. Andrea Cox TV is for health and wellness. The Detox Intuitive is for
Yeah.
spirituality, where I do the oracle readings. But also, I'm on LinkedIn at Andrea Lee Cox. I'm on Instagram at Raw Chef Andrea. That's how I found you and you found me. And I am on Facebook under Andrea Lee Cox, also on TikTok, Andrea Cox, the Detox
Yeah.
Intuitive. And they can sign up for my newsletter at andreacox.com. They get a free healing protocol. Check your spam and make sure you put me as like someone to trust in your inbox.
I definitely trust you, so I'll definitely make sure that others do as well.
You too. Yay.
Bless
Thank
you.
you so much for having me.
Thank you. This is an absolute honor. And I really hope that, even if just one person out there for now listens to it and it resonates, um, I mean, that's to me, it's like that saying, sorry.
Oh, that's all we need.
So we'll start collaborating. That'll be great.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank you.
you.
There was a lot of learning today. And, just hope we can continue to collaborate. It'd be wonderful.
I would love that. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to the Comeback Blueprint podcast with Michael Sawan. Real stories, real struggles, real comebacks. Follow these comeback stories on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and anywhere else you can find us on social media. And don't miss what's coming next.